Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. If you're new here, then hi, welcome. It's really nice to meet you. I haven't bothered putting my box light on today, I'm going to be honest, because it's quite bright outside and I can't be bothered to set my box light up today. These earrings, by the way, are from Marvellous Mama Gifts. They are her Disney Valentine's earrings. It's in the shape of a little Mickey and it's got little hearts in it. She's Marvellous Mama Gifts on Instagram and Etsy, and I highly recommend. I've got a lot of my Disney earrings from her and they're all amazing. They're really lightweight as well, so they're not like dragging my ears down or anything, but yeah. Anyway, today's video is going to be a little book video. So I have started reading again this year because I go through phases. I used to always love reading as a child. I used to read a lot. And then when my mental health got bad, I sort of just stopped reading. But I've been trying to read more over the last few years, and I thought I'd show you some of my favourite books. These are accumulated over the years. There is one that I've just finished reading, which now my mum has started reading, because me and my mum got some books from the works. They were 3 for £5, so I bought 6 and she bought 6. But the ones we got are pretty similar, and ones I got she was looking at to get for herself, but she chose different ones, so we're doing a swap. So once I finish reading it, I'll give it to Mum and she can read it. So yeah, I'll start with that one actually, because that's the newest one that I've read. I loved it. It is called The Book Club by C.J. Cooper. I've never read anything by C.J. Cooper before, but first of all, the texture of this book I love. I love this sort of texture. I can't really explain it, like a shiny texture of a book, but this is a really good book. I will say, if you don't like multiple point of view books, then this isn't the book for you. It was very hard, because normally I read a book that's like one point of view. It was very hard to keep up with who was who, but when you get a certain way into the book, you sort of remember certain bits about people that helps you remember who they are. But there was two of the main characters that I started to forget who they were, and who was who. But it's very good. My mum's about halfway through it now. She said she's liking it, but again she had the same problem as I did, as like getting confused as to who was who. But I'll read the like little synopsis on the back. So it says, the book club was her idea, of course. It was her way into our group, a chance to get close. I knew from the day she arrived that she couldn't be trusted, and I was right. Because Alice didn't come to the village for peace and quiet. She came for revenge. Ooh, it's a fab book. It's like a mystery sort of book. I just hit myself in the face with it. But I love this book. I read it in about 3 sittings, which for me is really, really good, because it normally takes me forever to read a book, because I get like, my mental health gets in the way and I sort of just can't concentrate on the words. But I was thoroughly excited to finish reading this. I was trying to think of the word. I was thoroughly excited to finish reading this. But yeah, I really love this book, so highly recommend that one. Give that back to my mum so she can finish reading it. Next up is a fairly obvious choice of one of my favourite books. It's Peter Pan, and this version of the book is absolutely stunning. So it's a Puffin Books one. It's like, so the pages are like worn out paper, which I love, and on the back it says, all children except one grow up. Do you believe? And I just think the illustration on this book is absolutely stunning. So obviously this is one of my favourite books. It is by J.M. Barrie. For anyone that knows me, Peter Pan is an absolute favourite film, favourite book, everything. Like, I adore that film. I just love Peter Pan as a whole. I love any of the Peter Pan films that they've released, like the real life version, the cartoon. I even loved Pan, which not many people did, but I actually did really enjoy it. I also loved Hook. I just love Peter Pan like so much. I'm really excited for the Peter Pan and Wendy film that they're releasing, but obviously this was going to be on my top tier books of choice to read. And if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful book. It's beautifully written and I love it. I also love the film Finding Neverland, which has got Johnny Depp in it, which basically tells you the story of how J.M. Barrie came to write the book, which is fabulous. It's nice to know like the background of stuff. Next up I'm going to show you a play. I love this play. I read this play in first year of uni, and I actually performed this play in my third year of uni. As our last project, we performed like sections of it, and that is The Wonderful World of Dyssocia by Anthony Nilsson, which, to put it bluntly, is Alice in Wonderland on more drugs and with more adult content and with swearing. That's it. That's literally like all I can say about it. It's such a good play. It's really funny. It's really raw. It's got a lot of issues about mental health. It's basically about a woman who invents this world, the wonderful world of Dyssocia, and she would rather live there than in the real world, so she keeps going back to this world in her head rather than facing the real world. And I just think it's a really good book, and I love all the different characters that are seen in it, and I just think it's a really interesting book. So yeah, I love this, would highly recommend. It's quite an easy read as well, actually. So yeah, I really like it. Next up is another fantasy book. There is some fantasy, most of these, I think all of these books are actually non-fiction. I'm not really a fan of reading a real life book. I don't really like autobiographies or anything like that. Fiction's more my genre. I do love fantasy, like crime, like mystery, like it's a bit of everything, mental health, that sort of thing. It's a bit of everything. But next up is Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. Yeah. Why did I forget that? Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. Obviously, the majority of people will know the story of Alice in Wonderland, but this is where it started, in the book by Lewis Carroll, and I loved this. I never actually had read the book until a few years ago. I'd only ever watched the films, like the real life one and the Disney one and the newer Disney real life ones, because there's another real life one as well, from years ago, and then you've got the newer ones that Disney have made. But yeah, I decided to sit down. I was like, I'm gonna give it a go, because I read a lot at work when I was at work before the pandemic. On days where it was just the over 18 side that was open, I used to take in a book and read, because we didn't get a load of customers some days. Some days we'd only have like one customer for the whole day, and they weren't there the whole day, so I'd sit and read when we weren't busy, and I managed to get through this book and some other books that I'll show you in a minute. But I just loved reading. I'm not one of those people, I can't have noise when I'm reading. I have to just sit and read. So at work that was quite good. If there was no one there, I'd just sit and read. So yeah, I got through this at work and some of the other books I'll show you. But yeah, highly recommend if that's your sort of vibe. I'm pretty sure some people have already read it, but it took me a while because I tend to watch the films over reading the books. I know, but it is what it is. I'm more of a, like, I like watching things more, because sometimes it's hard to concentrate on the words. Anyway, next up, this is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen, I don't know how you say that name, Chbosky? No, Chbosky? Chbosky. It looks weird on the front cover, okay? This is Perks of Being a Wallflower, which is one of my favourites. I absolutely adored the film, so I really, really, really wanted to read the book. And one of my best friends from university, Naomi, bought me this book. I was very, very thankful for that. And it's a gorgeous book. Like, you've got in the back, like, his diary entries. If you haven't seen the film, I highly recommend. Again, it's about mental health and about sort of a person finding themselves and like coming to terms with the trauma they'd gone through that they'd sort of hidden away, and finding friends. It's like a really like coming of age sort of thing, where he finds out his friends who are really there for him and stuff, and situations and like that they go through are quite traumatic and stuff, and obviously, like I said, suppressed trauma and stuff. But I really like it. I think it's a great book. It's really well written. It's written in as if he is sending letters. So it's Charlie's point of view, and it's like he's sending the letters to people. So it's written like that. So it's quite easy to follow, because it's one person's point of view, and you sort of understand his whole world around him from that. But yeah, love that book. I read that in one sitting actually. One day I read that whole book because I just couldn't put it down. I loved it. Another book from my friend Nim. She actually gave me this because she'd read it and she said that she thought I might like it. So I actually read this one at work and loved this as well. It's kind of a funny story by Ned Vizzini. I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure. But it's this book. It's a book about mental health. The boy in it is in a psych ward and it's about him basically coming to terms with his mental illness, meeting friends through his mental illness, realising what he wants in life and stuff, and it's about putting this boy puts a lot of pressure on himself to get into the right school and everything like that, and if anything goes wrong it sort of spirals downwards. So yeah, it's a really good book. I loved it. It took me quite a while to read because it's quite a thick book. How many pages is it? 444, which may not seem like a lot to some people, but sometimes that's a little overwhelming for me. But yeah, I really liked it. I read this while I was at work and I just really liked the whole vibe and the whole lesson that basically even if stuff goes wrong you can still like come out the other side. Essentially I find it a really good book. I love, like I said earlier, like books about mental health and stuff because I'm still trying to understand my own mental health. So yeah, another fantasy book. Actually these last two lots of books are fantasy books, so I'll just say that now. This is a Disney book and it's part of the Twisted Tales series that Disney have released, and it is part of your world. So it basically is what if Ariel had never defeated Ursula. So it's basically, it's a few person point of view again, but it was very clear at the start of each chapter whose point of view is that chapter. So you obviously have Ariel, Ursula, Eric, Flounder, you have all of the main characters. Ariel doesn't have her voice still. Ursula still has her voice, so she goes most of the book without her voice. And it's basically about what if Ursula had won and she'd kept up this facade that her and Eric were married, but Eric starts to realise that something happened, that he's like sort of forgotten because Ursula's put a spell on him obviously, and he starts to realise that Ursula isn't a woman and starts to realise that she's in fact a giant octopus, and he ends up teaming up with Ariel, who he remembers in the end, and they like defeat Ursula. But I know it sounds really corny, but I really liked it. It was a really easy read. Again, it's quite a chunky book actually. How long is this? About 500 pages. So it's not a short story, but it's a really good book. I really like the like twist on it. Like I said, it is a twisted tale, so I like the twist on it, that there was this sort of like vibe of like what would have happened if they hadn't defeated Ursula the first time, and I quite like that. I've got a few more of these Twisted Tales ones. I've actually got the Peter Pan one, which is about like basically if Wendy had betrayed Peter Pan instead of following him, and I've got what other one have I got? Mother Knows Best, which is the Tangled one, which I'm really excited to read those as well at some point. Just I get stuck a bit in a rut with books. If I start reading them and I'm like, I have to be in the right sort of place and mindset and mood to read a certain book. So the Peter Pan one has been put on hold for a minute, but I do want to read that and I do want to finish it because I did really, really love this one. So I highly recommend the Twisted Tales. Oh God. Okay, so last up will be to absolutely no one's surprise, and I don't really know how I'm going to show you this, but I'm just going to have to sort of lift this up. So they're all in this container, which is the Lion King container that Primark released. They are all, if like a lover of book people who don't like spines being bent, I should probably turn this video off now because I've bent the hell out of these spines. But it is, it's really hard to show. It's the Harry Potter books, obviously 1 to 7. I love these books. I'm going to put them down because they're very heavy. My favourites are these are also my favourite films as well from the collection. It's The Prisoner of Azkaban, Look at these covers. So I know we have the original covers from the film, from the books when they first were ever released, but I couldn't find all of them. I know we've got them in the house, but I couldn't find them, and I actually wanted my own copies because when I move out I would love to reread them and stuff as well at some point. So I wanted my own copies, so I bought my own. These were £5 each in Tesco, so it worked out about £35. Maths. I've not been at work, I don't know maths anymore. And also my other favourite book is the Deathly Hallows, which may seem weird, but it's also one of my favourite films. Deathly Hallows Part 2. And these are really dusty, I'm sorry, they've been under my bed. Deathly Hallows Part 2 and Prisoner of Azkaban are by far my two favourite Harry Potter books. But I love them all. I used to be really funny with reading them. I know my mum read them to us as a child, so I know I had read them all technically. However, I only read the first two and I could never get onto the third one. And I set myself a goal one year. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take the third one into work, even though I'd read the first two like ages and ages before. And I was like, I'm going to take the third one into work and I'm going to read the rest of these books. And I did. So I took the third one in, I read it, took the 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th in, and I read them all in my breaks at work when there was not many people in. I used to read the Harry Potter books, and I got really upset at the 7th one that I had to go to the toilet at work and cry a little bit. Not going to give any spoilers, but hopefully you've all read them or seen the films by now. But obviously I love Harry Potter and I had to include these. I do not agree with anything the author has said or done, so I just want to make that very clear. I do not agree with her views at all. I have disassociated her from the books, so in my mind she doesn't exist in this universe. So I just wanted to let you know that. I don't want anyone thinking I agree with her, because I don't. I bought these books before she said any of that. So yeah, like I say, whenever I talk about Harry Potter, I don't want people thinking I agree with her, because I don't at all. I don't condone what she said at all. I think it's disgusting. But yeah, these are another of my favourite books. I absolutely adore them. So I've got these ones, which the covers are stunning, and I also have these two. This is just the first two, because I think that's all they've released at the moment. But it's the house editions of the book. So this is a Philosopher's Stone. So it says Gryffindor on the front, and it's got courage, bravery and determination, which if you didn't know, my house is Gryffindor. And on the back it's got the Nearly Headless Nick illustration, and the pages are this beautiful like yellow and red, which is obviously the house colours. And then I've got the Chamber of Secrets, which is also the same style. It's the 20th anniversary edition, but these pages are red on the side, and I just love that. Obviously the normal pages are like white, but like down the side they're red, and I just think it's really aesthetically pleasing, so I love those. I got those for Christmas, I think, maybe, or for a birthday or something. I think my mum got them. They're both the 20th anniversary editions. I am completely in love with Harry Potter. I want to reread it again, but I'm not emotionally prepared for that at this moment in time. But yeah, I love these books. I think they're great, and that's all the books I'm going to show you actually. They're some of the books that I've been loving and that I have loved to read. I have got a selection of 5 more books from my books haul that I got at the works to read and to check out, and so once I've read any of them I could possibly do a part 2 to this if anyone is interested. I just think it's quite nice to find out other people's likes for books. I'm really trying to find different sorts of books to read. I'm on TikTok looking at people's books and stuff, so yeah, I just thought I'd share with you my books that I've been loving and that I have loved to read, in case anyone is looking for any inspiration. But yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please give it a big thumbs up if you did. Subscribe, it would really mean a lot. Leave any comments down below of any books you've been loving, or anything you'd recommend for me to read based on the sort of stuff I like to read. I hope you all are okay and staying safe. I hope you all have a lovely Valentine's Day. That's this Sunday, isn't it? Hence the earrings. Hope you all have a nice Valentine's Day. I am working on a project on Sunday with some of my friends. So that would be cool. Take my mind off the fact that it's Valentine's Day, and anyway, I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you all have a lovely Valentine's Day and stay safe, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys. Oh, God, hang on. Let's try that again. Bye, guys.